Hey guys, it's Kelly from fitnessblender.com. Today we have a cardio workout for you. You're not going to need any equipment. We have a warm-up and a cool-down for you. We're going to be doing cardio exercises in groups of 2 with 40 seconds active and 15 seconds active rest in between each in an A-B format. Let's go ahead and get started.
All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get ready for our warm-up. We're going to be starting off with march in place. We're going to be doing each one of these for 30 seconds. So there's a nice high knee march. Just keep those feet moving. You want to slowly start increasing that range of motion as you can. So start with a relatively small range of motion and then start increasing as you get further and further into this exercise. We're about 15 seconds in. We've got another 15 seconds to go on this one. Start working those knees up just a little bit higher. Try to get a little more range of motion out of those hips. We're moving to a jog in place next. In 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and switch that jog in place. Bring those heels up. Stand on the ball of that foot for just a few seconds before we switch over to the other foot. Nice even pace. Again, start relatively slow. You can always speed it up as you get further into it. Let those ankles and calves start to warm up. Start bringing that core temperature up just a little bit. Got about 10 seconds left until we move on to our next exercise, which is going to be a torso twist. In 4, 3, 2, 1, and switch it. Standing with those feet a little wider than shoulder width apart. You're going to rotate those shoulders back and forth. Try to keep those hips relatively stationary, mainly trying to just get a rotation around that torso. So twisting those shoulders left to right as far as you can, as far as is comfortable for that lower back. Again, start trying to push that range of motion a little bit more as you get further into it. We've got about 10 seconds left until we switch to our next. We're going to be doing a row plus a lateral step next. In 3, 2, 1, and switch it. So just a lateral step, kind of a side lunge. Doing a nice long motion with those arms, so stretching out in front of your chest, then squeezing them back behind you, constantly working against yourself. So you want those muscles working against those arms, so your bicep and tricep working against themselves, your chest and your rhomboids working against themselves, trying to get a full range of motion and warm up that upper body. Really focus on that step as well, opening up those hips, getting those legs nice and warmed up. Got just a couple seconds left until we switch to squats. And go ahead and switch it. This is just a traditional squat. Feet, again, just about shoulder width apart or a little bit wider if you want. Dropping down as low as you can, as low as is comfortable. Try to get a really nice deep squat on every single one of them. Again, you can always start with a slightly more limited range of motion if those joints are still a little bit cold. But as long as they're nice and warm, start trying to push that range of motion. Get as much out of it as you can. Got about another 10 seconds. This is our last stretch or our last warm-up. So just keep it going. 2, 1, and let it relax. All right, good job. That's the end of our warm-up. Let's go and get ready for our next 2 exercises. Let's go ahead and get ready for our cardio portion of this routine. Remember, we're doing 2 exercises at a time, 40 seconds each with a 15-second break, active rest in between. So let's go ahead and get started with our first exercise, which is going to be a slow burpee. Let's go ahead and start it up. Be stepping out with 1 foot at a time. Those hands go down to the ground. Nice, slow, controlled motion. Make sure every single time you step out, you're starting with the opposite foot you did last time. So every single time those hands drop down, 1 foot goes out. The next time you drop down, you want the opposite foot to start out. So just keep that motion going. Nice full extension at the top of that range of motion. Again, just keep it nice and slow, under control. Keep that pace nice and even. Keep those lungs open and just try to work on getting a nice full range of motion. We've only got a few seconds left until we switch to that active rest. In 4, 3, 2, 1, and let it relax. Jog in place. We got 15 seconds of jogging in place. Just keep those feet moving. If you end up getting really, really tired in between these exercises, you can always just stand and shuffle your feet back and forth, just kind of rocking back and forth, but always try to do something a little bit more intense. All right, let's go and move into a jumping jack. Nice full range of motion. Nice quick motion. Again, barely letting those feet touch the ground before you're jumping them back in the opposite direction. Keep those lungs open, breathing constantly. Make sure you never hold your breath. Just keep that motion under control at a nice, constant pace. Got about 10 seconds left till we switch back to that active rest. 4, 3, 2, 1, and jog in place. That's one of each. We've got one more of each of these exercises, and we'll move to the next group. So once we're done with this active rest, we're going to be moving back to that slow burpee. In 3, 2, 1, and start that slow burpee up again. Again, nice slow controlled motion. 1 foot at a time goes out, 1 foot at a time comes back in. Make sure you're alternating which foot you start with or which foot you lead with every single time. Keep those lungs open. Make sure you're really trying to focus on getting a nice full range of motion. Take the time to get those hips nice and low. Every single time you extend those legs out back behind you. Just keep it going. Got 10 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and active rest. Jogging in place. Nice quick motion. Now if you want to make this into more of a cardio exercise, you can always do high knees instead. And switch it back. We're going to jumping jacks again. It's our last round of jumping jacks. Make sure you're moving nice and quick, but under control. You never want those arms or legs out of control. You don't want to just swing them around. You want to keep them nice and rigid, nice controlled motion on that arm and that leg. Keep those lungs open. Try to keep a nice even pace. 10 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1, and let it relax. Good job. That's our first round down. Let's go ahead and get ready for our next. Our next 2 exercises are going to be a lateral step and reach and a ventral jack. So let's go ahead and get started with that lateral step and reach. Go ahead and stepping left to right, starting with those hands up over your head. Get a nice wide lunging motion. As you reach down to that opposite foot with opposite hand, so left hand to right foot, right hand to left foot, rotating those shoulders, really trying to get as much range of motion out of this as you can. You can always limit that range of motion if you need to, but try to get as much as you can, really trying to challenge yourself. Now again, just keep those lungs open. Make sure you're breathing normally. Never hold your breath. Got about 10 seconds left until we switch to that active rest. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and jog in place. Get those feet moving. Again, this is just whatever you need to kind of recover a little bit to get into that next exercise. So if you're not really all that tired, you can always make it harder. If you are tired, you can always make it easier. And we're moving to those ventral jacks next, and go ahead and switch it. Those arms come straight up in front of your body. This is almost the same exact motion as a regular jumping jack. The only difference is that arm motion. So instead of coming up and out to the side, it's just coming straight in front of your body. Same rules apply though. Make sure that back stays nice and neutral. Make sure you're barely letting those feet touch the ground before you jump them back in the opposite direction. You can always speed this motion up as long as you can control those muscles through those legs and those arms and not let them flail around. Got 10 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let it relax. Going into that jog in place again. Just keep those feet moving. Never stop moving. Keep those lungs open. Barely letting that foot touch the ground before you're hopping back over the other side. And go ahead and switch it back. Go into that lateral step and reach again. Nice full range of motion. Make sure you have a really nice full stretch, stretching those hands up above your head every single time you come back to the center. And you're getting a really good rotation through those shoulders and a nice deep lunge every single time you go off to the sides. Again, just keep those lungs open. Keep a nice even pace. You can always speed this motion up a little bit if you want to make it a little bit harder, but whatever you do, don't make it out of control. You want to always be under control with these. Got 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and jog in place. Got one more round of those ventral jacks coming up. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and start them up. Arms come straight up in front of that chest. Pause right at shoulder height and then right back down. Slap in the front of that thigh and then back up again. Again, make it as quick of a motion as you can control, just making sure everything is nice and controlled. You don't have anything going flailing around or loose. You want to make sure that arm and that leg are both really nice and tight. Got 10 seconds left. Keep those lungs open. Keep that motion nice and quick. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let it relax. Nicely done. Our next two exercises are going to be a high knee pause and a fly jack. That high knee pause is going to be 3 steps, and then on the third one, you're going to pause with one knee up in the air. It's just a short pause for a 2 count and then right back down again. All right, so let's go ahead and get ready with that high knee pause and start it up. It's a really nice quick motion, basically just like regular high knees. You want to move those feet as quick as you possibly can, but every third time, you're going to pause with one knee up in the air. Hold it for just a couple seconds, and then move it back again, another 3 steps. Just keep that motion going. You want to make sure everything is under control constantly, because as soon as you hit that pause motion, you have to hold it. So if you're out of control, you're going to lose your balance. Got 10 seconds left. Keep those lungs open. Keep those feet moving. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go to that active rest. Just jogging in place in that boxer shuffle. Again, if you want to make it harder, just start speeding those feet up a little bit more, or start doing a little bit higher knee motion. Moving to fly jacks next. And switch it. Those fly jacks come straight in front of your chest, just like you're clapping, a really big clapping motion right in front of that chest. The legs do the same exact motion as a regular jumping jack, just out and back. Every single time those hands come together, those feet come together, and every time those feet come apart, those hands come apart. It's a nice big full range of motion. Again, try to keep everything nice and tight, those legs and those arms. Never let those arms or legs out of control. Never let them go loose. Just keep that motion going. Keep those lungs open. Got just about 10 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and switch to that active rest. That's our first of each one of those exercises done. We got one more round of each exercise. Starting back over with that high knee pause in 3, 2, 1, and switch it. Remember, pause in that third step. Just keep it going. Keep those lungs open. Nice big full range of motion with those knees. Try to keep those knees up as high as you can, especially with that pause. When you stop, you want to try to keep that knee as high as you possibly can in that range of motion. Nice quick movement. Just 10 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and back to that active rest. Jogging in place, doing that boxer shuffle. Try to recover as best you can. Nice deep breath. 3, 2, 1, and back to those fly jacks. Nice big motion right in front of that chest. Try to get those arms to come actually back behind your chest just a little bit, so get a really good stretch to that shoulder as well as getting that full range of motion in front of that chest. Just keep it going, quick motion, keep those core muscles nice and tight, keep those lungs open. Ten seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let it relax. Good job. Go ahead and drop down to that mat for our first exercise. We're going to be switching back and forth between bicycle crunches and a lunge jack. Now, that lunge jack we're going to have to stand back up for, but before that, let's go ahead and start off with that bicycle crunch. And start it up. Just alternating back and forth. Remember, this is a bicycle crunch and not a crisscross crunch. So you can bring that elbow all the way forward to that knee. You can bring that knee all the way back to that chest. So Make sure you get a really nice big circular motion with that foot. You're trying to do like you're pedaling a bike. So a nice big circular motion out and back. Alternating back and forth, trying to get a good rotation on that torso, crunching with those abs as well as those obliques. Just keep that motion going. Again, keep those lungs open, especially with those core exercises. You want to always keep those lungs open. Makes those abdominal muscles have to work a lot harder. 4, 3, 2, 1, and go ahead and stand back up. We're going to do that jog in place. Just keep those feet moving, bouncing back and forth, nice and quick. We're switching into that lunge jack and switch it. Stepping forward, those hands come down underneath your leg. As you step back up, those arms come over your head. This is a nice slow motion. If you want to speed it up, you can, but make sure you have everything under control. Never let those arms or legs flail around. Focus on getting a nice full range of motion, nice long step, nice deep lunge. Then getting those hands up over top of your head, nice full body stretch, kind of stretching those hands away from your toes as much as you can as you come back up. Got about 10 seconds left till we switch back to that jog. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and jog in place. Again, nice quick motion, staying up on the ball of that foot, just bouncing back and forth, nice and quick. Moving back down to that mat for that bicycle crunch, and start it up. Just keep pulling those knees all the way in. Get a full range of motion on that hip joint. Trying to get a nice full extension on that leg every single time you kick it out. Big circular motion with that foot. Alternating left elbow to right knee, right elbow to left knee. Trying to get as much rotation to that torso as you can. Got 10 seconds left. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and stand back up. Do that jog in place. Remember, nice quick motion, staying up on the ball of that foot. 5 seconds left. 2, 1, and start that lunge jack. Stepping forward, those hands come underneath that thigh, then standing back up, nice full extension with those hands straight up above your head, alternating back out with that opposite leg. Just make sure you're alternating every single time. Keep those lungs open. Keep those arms nice and rigid. Keep those core muscles contracted. Make sure every single muscle in your body is nice and solid the entire time, keeping that motion under control every single second. Got just 10 seconds left, just a little bit longer. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it relax. Nicely done. Our next two exercises are going to be plank slaps and stutter jacks. So let's go ahead and drop down into a push-up position for that first exercise, the plank slaps, and get it started. Those hands are going to come up to those shoulders, just alternating back and forth, keeping those hips down nice and low, just like a regular plank position. So nice straight line from shoulder to ankle, or as close to as you can control, and then moving back and forth, slapping that hand to that shoulder. So right hand to left shoulder, left hand to right shoulder. Just keep those lungs open. And again, try to keep those hips as low as you can. Ten seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and stand back up. We're doing that jog in place. Our next exercise is going to be that stutter jack. It's just like a regular jumping jack, but we're going to be doing it in 3 different positions. So let's start that up in 3, 2, 1. Just watch Kelly to learn it. It's going to be a pause in the middle. So it's a regular jumping jack at the bottom and the top, but you're just going to pause in the middle halfway through that motion. Just keep those lungs open. Now this can actually be a little bit hard to get used to at first just because your body's telling you to do a regular jumping jack. Just take your time, move slowly, and really exaggerate where those feet and those hands are going to go. Got 10 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back that jog in place. Get those feet moving. Again, if you want to make it harder, just move those feet quicker or start picking those knees up higher to get more into a high knee. Otherwise, just keep those feet shuffling back and forth. And we're going to switch back to that plank slap. So drop it down to that push-up position, alternating those hands back and forth. Left hand to right shoulder, right hand to left shoulder, keeping those hips nice and low in that full plank position. Keep those lungs open, breathing normally. Anytime you're really engaging those core muscles, it makes it much, much more difficult to breathe. So your body's going to kind of want you to try to hold your breath to stabilize those abdominal muscles. If you keep those lungs open and breathe normally, it's actually going to make those abdominal muscles have to work a lot harder. You're going to get a lot more out of it. So always keep breathing. Got 5 seconds left till we stand up. 3, 2, 1, and go ahead and stand back up. That jog in place. Got one more round of those stutter jacks. We're going to start them up here in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and start them up. Last round of those stutter jacks. Remember, pausing halfway through. So regular jumping jack motion at the bottom and the top, just pausing the middle halfway through that range of motion. Keep those arms and legs nice and rigid. Keep those core muscles nice and tight. Breathing normally. Got 20 seconds left. Just 10 more seconds. Keep them going. Keep everything nice and rigid. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let it relax. Nicely done. Our next two exercises are going to be a lateral hop and a high knee jack. So let's go ahead and get ready and started with that lateral hop. This is going to be a nice quick motion left to right, jumping as wide as you can. The idea is to get as much distance left to right as possible rather than straight up. So you want to try to keep those hips as low as you can to the ground and try to focus on just getting as much distance left to right as is possible. Just keep that motion nice and slow, under control. If you need a little bit of a break on those ankles, if you need a little extra or a little less impact, if those ankles and knees are fine, then start trying to get really, really nice, big, wide, quick motions. And we're going to switch that jog in place in 4, 3, 2, 1, and jog in place. Just barely letting that foot touch the ground before you're pulling it right back up again, switching back and forth between those feet. Remember, if you want to make it a little bit harder, drive those knees a little higher. And let's go ahead and move to that high knee jack. So that knee is going to come straight up, just like a regular high knee. It's a slow march in place. Every single time that knee comes up, those hands come down and clap underneath that thigh. And then as those legs go back down, those arms come straight up over your head. Get a nice full straight line through that body. Just keep those lungs open. Really, really try to exaggerate that range of motion. So try to bring that knee up as high as you possibly can. Try and get that knee up to your chest as high as possible. You're not just trying to go to knee height or knee to hip height. You're trying to get that knee way up there, really nice and high. And go ahead and switch it back to that jog in place. Nice quick motion. Keep those lungs open. Try to recover as quickly as you can, as much as you can. And back to those lateral hops, just left to right. Nice, big, wide motion. Slower if you need a little bit of a break. Faster if you want it to be harder. Keep those lungs open and try to keep those hips nice and low. Got 10 seconds left. Just keep it going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let it relax. We're moving back to that jog in place. We have one more round of that high knee jack. Start that last round of high knee jacks in 3, 2, 1, and start them up. Nice full range of motion. Again, get a nice straight line through that body as those arms go up over your head. And make sure that knee comes up really nice and high as those arms come down and clap underneath that thigh. Just keep exaggerating that range of motion as best you can. Really make your body have to work. Keep those arms nice and rigid. Make sure that bicep and tricep are working against each other the entire time to keep that arm perfectly straight. Got just a few seconds left to go. 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1, and let it relax. All right, let's move on to the next. Our next two exercises are going to be a side leg raise with an oblique crunch and a plank with a rear leg raise. So let's go ahead and get started with that first exercise, the side leg raise with an oblique crunch. Just rocking back and forth that torso. Every single time you rock to the left, that left leg comes up. Every single time you rock to the right, that right leg comes up. So you want to focus on getting a really nice high leg raise as well as a really nice contraction through that oblique towards the direction you're crunching. So just keep alternating back and forth. It's a slow, controlled motion. Don't kick that leg. You want to raise it up nice and slow and lower it down nice and slow. Keep those lungs open. Just keep that motion going. Try to keep a nice even pace on it. Got 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Jog in place. Really nice quick motion with those feet. Remember, you can always make it harder by speeding it up and bringing those knees up higher. Or if you need to, you can always slow it down. Just do a nice shuffle back and forth. And go ahead and switch it. We're moving into that plank with a rear leg raise. So down into that push-up position. One leg at a time. Squeeze it up as tight as you can. It's okay if you let those hips kick up on this one just a little bit. It'll actually give you a little bit more range of motion on that leg. Just don't let them come up too high. Keep those core muscles nice and tight. Keep those legs nice and tight. Keep those arms almost locked out. You want a tiny, tiny bit of a bend in that elbow. You got 10 seconds left. And 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and stand it back up. Jog in place. Got one more round of each exercise. Starting back over with that side leg raise with the oblique crunch in 3, 2, 1, and switch it. Hands by your ears, just crunching left to right. Just tipping that torso left to right. Again, make sure that motion's nice and slow. You don't want to kick that leg. You want to nice and slow raise it up as you crunch down towards that knee. Make sure you're keeping that motion all to your sides. You don't want to bring those legs in front of your body. You don't want to bring that crunch to the front of your body. You want to only go left and right. Just keep it going. This one's a little bit difficult for that balance, especially as those legs start getting tired. Just keep them going. Almost done. And jog in place. Get those feet moving. We have one more exercise to go, and that's going to be that plank with a rear leg raise. We're going to start it up in 3, 2, 1. Drop down to that plank. One leg at a time. Squeeze it up. Get a nice tight squeeze in that glute muscle. Make sure you don't over-rotate those hips. You don't want to put too much pressure on that lower back. You just want to bring that leg up as high as you can without letting those hips tilt. Bring it right back down and switch off to the other side. Keep those lungs open. Keep those abdominal muscles nice and tight. Remember, keep those arms completely locked out. You want to have just a little tiny bit of a bend in that elbow so that bicep and tricep are always constantly working to hold that position. Same thing with that leg. You want to make sure that quadricep, the front of that thigh, and that hamstring, the back of that thigh, stay nice and tight to hold that position. We're almost done. And let it relax. Go and stand back up. This is our last two exercises. We're going to be doing a toe touch kick and a jumping jack, just a regular jumping jack. So let's go ahead and get started with that toe touch kick. And arms come up over your head. Then you're going to reach down towards that foot, getting a nice full extension down towards that leg. You should feel a little bit of a stretch in your hamstring as well as a good crunch to those abdominal muscles. Just keep that motion going. Nice full stretch with those arms above your head as those feet come down to the ground. And as you bring one foot up, you're going to reach both those hands down towards that toe, trying to keep that leg as straight as you can, getting a good crunch on those abdominal muscles as well as getting a stretch to that hamstring. So just keep that motion going, keep those lungs open. You got 5 seconds left. 2, 1, and jog in place. Nice quick motion with those feet. We're moving on to a regular jumping jack next. Nothing fancy on this one. In 4, 3, 2, 1, and start up. Just that regular jumping jack again. Nice full range of motion. Keep it nice and quick. This is your last 2 exercises, so really push yourself. Make sure that arm is nice and rigid. Make sure those legs are nice and rigid. Everything's under control. Getting a nice, quick, full swing. Check those abdominal muscles. Make sure those abdominal muscles, those obliques, and that lower back are all nice and tight. Make sure those arms are tight. Make sure those legs are tight. Just keep running through everything again. We've got 10 seconds left to go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go ahead and let it relax. Back to that jog in place. We got one more round of each of these exercises. We'll be starting back over with that toe touch kick next. In 4, 3, 2, 1, and switch it. Arms over your head, reaching down towards that toe as you kick that leg up. Try to keep that leg nice and extended, perfectly straight if you can. Keep those arms nice and straight, reaching down towards that toe. Just keep that motion under control. Whatever you do, try not to swing that leg. You want to have a nice slow raise, a crunch as you reach down towards those toes with that hand, and then nice and slow let that leg drop back down. Check all those muscles in those legs and those arms. Make sure they're nice and tight. Contracting all those core muscles. We're almost done with this one. 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to that jog in place. Keep those feet moving nice and quick. Keep those lungs open. Try to recover as best you can. And switch that last round of jumping jacks. Nice full range of motion, nice and quick. Get that cardio up as high as you possibly can. This is your last exercise. Keep those lungs open, breathing normally. Keep those core muscles nice and tight, those arms and those legs nice and tight. Try to get as full a range of motion on that shoulder as you can. Got 10 seconds left. Just keep it going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let it relax. Nicely done. Let's go and get started with our cool down. We're going to be starting off with a lunging hamstring stretch. You're doing 20 seconds on each leg. So just stretch down towards that leg. One leg back behind you for support. The other one's going to be completely extended straight out in front of you, reaching down towards that toe. Just hold it there. Keep it nice and comfortable. Nice deep breath in. Nice long exhale. Don't make your breathing shallow. You want to have a nice full breath every single time. Let's go ahead and switch legs. Stretching down towards that foot. Again, keeping that leg you're stretching down towards perfectly straight. You want that knee almost completely locked out. Breathing normally. Trying to feel a really good stretch to the back of that hamstring, the back of that thigh, as well as possibly into that glute and that lower back. Now switch to our next one, which is going to be a standing quad stretch. Leaning up against a wall or a chair if you need a little extra balance. Tip forward, bring that heel to your butt as close as comfortable, trying to pull that knee back. You want to feel a good stretch to the front of that quadricep, the front of that thigh, and the front of that hip. 5 seconds, we're going to switch sides. And go ahead and switch sides. Other leg comes up, squeeze that heel to your butt, stretch that knee back behind you. You want to try to get a really good stretch, again, through the front of that hip and the front of that thigh. You have a wall calf stretch coming up next. Moving to that wall calf stretch, so 1 foot up against that wall. You're going to push those hips towards the wall until you feel that calf muscle tighten up on you, getting a really good stretch on it. All that weight just on that front leg, the one that's up against the wall. Just constantly pressing those hips forward. And go ahead and switch sides. Bring that other foot forward, up against the wall. Again, pressing those hips forward, getting a good stretch to that calf. We're moving to a wall chest stretch next. 5 seconds. 2, 1, and switch it. Wall chest stretch, one hand up against the wall. You're going to rotate away from that hand, keep that arm perfectly straight. Just keep twisting your shoulders away from that hand as much as you can until you feel that stretch to your chest. If you're feeling it in your bicep, then rotate that arm so that inside of your elbow is facing up towards the ceiling. And go ahead and switch sides. Opposite arm, fingers facing back behind you. Rotate those shoulders away from that hand. Get a good stretch to that chest. Again, watch that elbow. If that inside of your elbow is pointing up, you should be feeling it only in that chest. If that elbow is facing forward, you might feel it in that bicep. There's about 5 seconds left, and we're going to switch to a wide hamstring stretch plus an overhead stretch. And go ahead and switch it. So wide hamstring stretch, those feet nice and wide apart. Bring those arms back behind you and stretch those arms up over behind your head. So you should feel a little bit of a stretch to the front of that shoulder as well as through those hamstrings and into those glute muscles. Just hold that position, keeping those lungs open, breathing normally, constantly trying to push into that stretch just a little bit more. Kind of move around a little bit if you need to try to find where that stretch is. Try to get a little extra stretch in different spots. And let's go and move to our next. Our last one is going to be an inner thigh stretch. So leaning off to one side, dropping that hip towards that straight leg to feel that stretch on the inside of that thigh of that straight leg. Just hold it there. Nice deep breath in. Keep those lungs open. Got about 5 seconds left, and we're going to switch sides. And go ahead and switch over to the other side, dropping that hip down towards that straight leg. Trying to get a really good stretch to that inside thigh. Just keep those lungs open. Keep pressing into that stretch as much as you can. You got 5 seconds left. And let it relax. All right, good job. This workout is complete.